Hello everyone, welcome back to another video brought to you by WebVidTuts. And as you can see on your screen, we will be having a new HTML5 and CSS3 training series in the works right now. Let me go ahead and explain why. So, why a new HTML series? We have one on our channel already, so why have another one? Well, this will somewhat replace the original HTML series a little bit, due to the fact that the original had some mistakes and errors in it. I created it in, I think, 2011 or so. So, I've matured on HTML and CSS a bit more. And the second reason is because that series didn't consist of HTML5 and CSS3, which are the current standards. Well, HTML5 is still experimental, but a lot of websites are starting to move over to HTML5. And newcomers for the series will be thrilled as well, because I will be starting from scratch again. I'll be starting right from the very beginning in this training series as well. So for people who aren't familiar with HTML, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's basically what every website, every web page consists of. So whenever you go to a website and you see company's logo, if you get to YouTube or something, you see all the left bar has your subscriptions and everything on it. That is all made in HTML and all coded in HTML. And HTML, it's not on the slide, but it's not a programming language. It's more of it's a markup language. It doesn't have to be compiled or anything like a programming language does. And like I said in the previous slide, HTML5 is the newest version of HTML. The previous one was 4.01, I believe. Some could say that XHTML was the previous one, but it's not exactly in the same line as HTML. It's kind of like a different offset of HTML. And HTML5 is still in the experimental state, although it is becoming widely used in modern day web design because of how flexible it is compared to 4.01, which HTML5 is a lot better. And HTML is essentially the foundation or the skeleton of a website. HTML is made up of tags and elements, just like what I have there, with the HTML with an open bracket and then a closed bracket, and then there's an open bracket, forward slash, and then another bracket. And HTML consists of many of those types of tags. They won't all say HTML, they'll say like P or H1, H2, many different types of tags that they are an HTML page is comprised of. And once we get started actually coding HTML, you'll see more of what I mean. Okay, on to the next slide. So, what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And what CSS is, it is basically, like I said, this says on the bottom of the slide, it's basically like the walls, or no, excuse me. It would be like the paint and decorations of a house, where HTML was the walls and foundation. CSS would be the paint and the decorations, all the styling of a house. And the newest version of CSS is CSS3, which is why it's on the slide. CSS2 was the previous version. And as I said, CSS allows developers and designers to style the website. So any kind of, usually any kind of styling on the website, any kind of text that's big or text that's gray, that is all colored and styled by CSS. And CSS and HTML work pretty much side by side. They work pretty seamlessly, to be honest. And so, that's what we'll also be learning alongside HTML. And in the previous series, it was kind of more towards HTML mainly and a little bit of CSS. So this will be HTML5 and CSS3, which are both the new standards. So the software we'll be needing for this series is just a plain text editor such as Notepad++, Dreamweaver, or even just a regular Notepad that comes on Windows computers. You also need a web browser such as Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, any kind of those. Pretty much all the modern browsers, they all essentially interpret coded HTML pages pretty similarly now. So pretty much you can use any one that, pretty much any one of them. And if you're on a Linux or Mac operating system, you should be able to follow along just fine, because there's really no special software needed, because pretty much all you need to do is code the page in a text editor, and then you'll display it on a web browser. And I think Firefox is on all 3 operating systems. Chrome might be. I know Chrome's on Linux. But yeah, it shouldn't be much different. Some of your file paths will be a bit different than a Windows computer. I don't know exactly how Linux and Mac work, but how their file systems are exactly, but I know in Windows it'll be like C drive, :/ that, but I'm not sure how Linux and Mac's file systems are. But other than that, it should be pretty much the same. So I hope you guys will enjoy the new series. The videos will be posted soon, and the next video will be about getting started, setting up your text editor, getting your web browsers ready, and I'll be creating a folder to hold all of our stuff in. And I believe we'll actually have some challenges or some projects for you guys to work on as well to help kind of solidify your knowledge of HTML and CSS3 at kind of like milestones, maybe have some practice or something like that. But yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy the new series. And like I said, it will somewhat replace the original one because there's a bit of mistakes in there, and as well as this series being about the new standards of HTML5 and CSS3. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. We'll have some videos up soon, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.